Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another Wednesday episode here with my good friend Beth English and myself. We are super excited to be here with you because today we're going to talk about a productivity hack, something that I want to call filtering the noise that we get every day that often ends up distracting us from the things that we want to get done in the day. So that's the topic. And Beth, I want to say hi to you. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing great. We're just coming back from celebrating our 51st, episode last week. So very excited to start I feel like we're starting on a new path, on a new refresh something.
Oh, there's so much more to talk about.
That's right. I don't think we can never run out of topics. And I want to say also, thank you to all our friends for the love, for the messages, the comments you guys shared last week. We are super excited to continue in this journey and to continue sharing with you. So today we want to talk about filtering the noise. And this is something that I was thinking about because I don't know if it happens to you, but you start your day with the things that you want to get done. The moment you open your email, you start getting these things that call your attention. Then you go on social media, messages, DMs, right? That call your attention for something. And then you open another social media post and things like that, and family, then text. So all of a sudden it's like you have all these voices, that come your way throughout the day, every day. And how do we know what we take in and what is like, well, this is just noise. I'm just going to let it pass or let it go. I'm sure that happens to you too, but I think that something happens to everybody.
Oh, it certainly does. And I tend to need peace and need clarity. And so all of that noise is just such a huge distraction for me. So lately I've been working on not getting on my phone as soon as I wake up.
Yeah,
so
that's a good one.
If I can do that, I feel like I'm just one step closer.
Right.
But I did that today and it was really nice. I've been working on some new meditations that I've been running through my head in the morning just to try to get started. Like instead of looking at social media, I just start looking towards my own heart, my own mind, and that has been really helpful. But I want to hear what you have to say about it too.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's get right into it. The idea is once we set up our, like you say, what we call prime our day, get settled, we're ready, and whatever each of us has our unique way of starting the day. Once you are at it, right, throughout the day, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., those messages will continue to rain in us. So the way I like to think about levels, right? Like if a message comes my way, it's going to pass level 1. And then if it passes level 1, it's going to pass level 2. And if it has level 2, then it's going to pass to level 3. It's kind of like, the filters, like there's 3 filters that I'm kind of thinking of myself when I get into my day, and all these things that are calling our attention are coming in. Like I like to think of it in that sense. So the first, maybe let's go through each one. So the first filter, or what we call level 1, is when something comes in my way, let's say an email from somebody. The first thing that I think about is this worth my time considering right now, right? Is it something that I want to pass on to give it the green light to go to the next level? Is it worth my time really even thinking about it? Or is it something that it just sounds curious, sounds interesting, but it's not worth my time considering? So that would be my level 1. How do you like that one?
I mean, yeah, we have to all kind of go through that mental checklist of like, do I need to respond to this? Is this important right now? And I think, for me, I let that wash over me like as an initial feeling, and then kind of like mentally set it aside. And then I know you're going to come, talk about level 2 and 3, and so I wait for it to get to a certain point where I know, okay, now it's time. I'm going to, in this block of time, go and respond to groups of emails that I know I maybe should have been, addressing maybe sooner than later. But that's a good start. Okay. What's level 2?
So yeah, that's a good one. And something, just a quick hack here. What I do, for example, for level 1, that's at the time when if I'm not in my computer, if it's something that came through text or something, I might put a little note on a sticky note, right? Which I always have sticky notes around me. Or if it's an email, I use flag system. So I flag it. So if I flag it, I know I can just get back at the end of the day to my flags and just pay attention to the flags. Although I have to kind of honestly say that a lot of times when I put the flag in my mind, I feel like, okay, it's taken care of. And I forget to go back and check the flags like 2-3 days later. So my system is not bulletproof. All right. So that's level 1, right? You go to level 1. It's worth my time considering this thing. Level 2 for me would be, how is this going to make my life better, or my job better, or my studio better, or whatever it is about, even a relationship, right? If it's something that I have to take care of a friend, something, how is it going to make my life better? If it's not going to make my life better in any way, then, should I go to level 3? Maybe it's just going to end in level 2 because it's not of any benefit to just continue on that rabbit hole for whatever that thing is. So that would be my second one. How is this going to make my life better? Sometimes you have opportunities that come your way, and at the beginning, like, oh, this sounds really great. But then kind of like reading the fine print, when you really think about it, well, it's going to take me a lot of time to do this. It's going to take a lot of my resources. It's going to distract me from something that I'm doing. Although it's a really great thing, it's not going to make my life better. It's actually going to make it worse because now I'll be busier than before. So how
Yeah, I really rely on what my intuition tells me about certain messages or certain conversations. And sometimes it doesn't need our attention or our energy, and you can just delete it. If it's not necessarily directed specifically to you, then it's okay. Like, just delete it. I'm sure if it's that important, it'll come up again. But in the long run, I think if we're always looking towards opportunities and new possibilities and connections that come through, those are great things to focus in on. And if they don't fall into those categories of like, how is this supporting me in the things that I want, then it makes it easier to kind of like push off to the side and maybe address a little bit later.
Exactly. And that kind of takes me to my third filter, or the third level. If a message passed the first one, it's worth considering. Okay, yes, it's worth considering. Goes to the next one. Okay, is it worth my time? Is it gonna make it better, in some way? So it says yes. Then my third one will be, is this something I need to take care of right now or later? Because if it passed, it's worth my time. It's gonna make my life better. But it doesn't necessarily have to make it better or be something that's for the now. It could be something that's for the later. And I think a lot of times, I know I'm guilty of, like, something calls my attention, past the first 2 levels, and then third level, I want to take care of it right now. And I can do it later. But because I want to take care of it right now, because it sounded exciting or whatnot, now all of a sudden, I'm distracted from really what I wanted to get done. And I end up, kind of, at the end of the day, just kind of running to figure out, like, where did my time go? Right? I responded to all these people or took care of all these things, which I could really have done in another time.
Yeah, that happens to me too. I do these things called power hours, where like I'll just set a timer for an hour and I'll only focus on email, or I'll only focus on updating the website, or one thing or the other. Because when I can give myself that container, I feel like that is a really healthy way of approaching the work, because it feels like there's a beginning and an end. And all of my attention can just kind of go into that container. And I tend to be a lot more productive when I do it that way, versus just like, well, let me do this and do that. But as you know, you start opening up all these tabs, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? Yeah. And then you're doing like 3 or 4 things at once, and you got to like reel yourself back in and say, okay, what are my top priorities right now? What do I have to get done in this hour? Let me just get those things done. It's usually like a handful of things usually that have to get done in that hour. Get it done. Step away from the computer, like take a little break, reset, and then go on to the next thing.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, that could also really relates to texting, right? Because, with all the other devices, social media and so on, email, things come, and when you open the email, that's where you'll find those things. But we have our phones everywhere we go. We carry these things. So the texting is, I think, kind of like one of those things that a lot of times, even if it's a text that doesn't require you to do something, but it just pulls your mind into something else, that a friend sends you, hey, let's do this or that. All of a sudden, the focus that you had on whatever you're doing, now it went into thinking about the ideas or the possibilities or the things like that. And a lot of that, I think I'm guilty of as soon as I get a text, I feel I have to reply right now. And it's not the case, right?
Right.
Somebody texts you, if it's not an emergency, it's okay to reply later when the
Yeah.
time comes for you to reply that. And that's kind of what the reason I brought this topic is because I do tend to struggle with this one, right? I mean, even though I have my filtering system, like I said, it's not bulletproof. A lot of things break through that. Looking backwards, I would say, geez, I should have done that later. I could have replied that text later and done this XYZ later, and then I would have had a more focused and productive day at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's all about setting those boundaries for yourself and saying, it's okay if I don't respond right away. I'm not available right now because right now my focus is here. And that's why I'd keep my phone on do not disturb, because nothing is so important that by the time I pick up my phone the next time, like I'll see it, without it having to ding and ring and all that stuff. I hate notifications. My phone does not make a single noise all day.
Oh, wow. Nice.
That is beautiful.
You don't want to be next to my phone.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what is that noise? And it's like, is that someone's phone? Like, what does that even sound like? Because mine doesn't make any noises, because if it did, my attention would be dependent on when my phone is telling me to give it attention, when really, like, that's not how I want to operate. So, and I pick up my phone so much anyways that I'm not going to miss anything at all. So,
and then, and then not even counting now the smart watch. Right now, those things come to your watch and vibrates. All these things, like, I
don't have one.
There you go. That's smarter than the smartwatch. So, well, my friends, let me know also. Let us know in the comments. How do you deal with the noise that comes your way? If you have a specific tactic, a specific, strategy that you use that has worked for you. Other than throwing your phone in the toilet, what works for you? Let us know. We would love to hear also from you. I think that would be really awesome. And as we wrap up today's episode, Beth, where can our friends follow up and connect with you?
You can find me on most of the platforms out there. I tend to stay on Instagram the most. I loved getting your messages last week. That was really fun to connect with you. So send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you and learn more about what's going on in your art practice. And what about for you, Sergio?
And for me, same. You can find me in all social medias at Sergio Gomez Art. So super happy, my friends, to connect with you. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, Beth. Have a good one.
Bye.